Good evening, viewers and listeners. It's my pleasure to welcome you to Elombah Television tonight. It is another in our series of interviewing governorship aspirants in Anambra State for the Anambra State governorship election. Our guest tonight is Mr. Ubaka Okeke, a PDP governorship aspirant. Mr. Okeke, you are welcome to our program.
Thank you very much, Elombah. It's been a wonderful opportunity to be with you.
Very well. Can you please introduce yourself to our audience?
My name is Mr. Ubaka Okeke. I'm from Nanka, in Elombah, North local government area. I was born and brought up in my town, Nanka. And ever since then, my secondary school, my primary school, my secondary school, all here in Anambra. So I will regard myself as a village boy and a native of Nanka, very grounded. So I would have preferred this interview if it could be in Igbo. So you'll be able to hear me well for people who are in the rural areas who might not understand English.
Yes, unfortunately.
People.
Yeah, that's okay. Majority of our audience are Igbo, and it's about Anambra governorship election. So I need the Igbo, but I want to saw Igbo got the problem.
Yes, because oh, yeah. Yes, thank you, my brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I only gonna go my primary school, my secondary school, my university. It will be nice.
Okay. Okay, that's good. My primary school was here in my village. In fact, I'm streaming here from my village in Nanka. And I went to my primary school was here in Nanka during the war and after the war. And after the war, 1973 to be precise, I gained admission to the prestigious secondary school, grammar school, Dennis Memorial Grammar School in Onitsha. And from Dennis Memorial Grammar School, I had a little short stay, I would call it, in Federal College of Arts and Science, Anambra State College of Arts and Science, Boko. I spent about 7 months from there, and from there I moved over to University of Nigeria in campus, and that was in 1980. And in 1980, I read accounting from 1980 to 1984. I was in the University of Nigeria, in campus. And I left the University of Nigeria in 1984. Now, did my youth service in Imo at Federal University of Technology, Futo, where I lectured for 1 year. And from there, I left and went back to Lagos. And in Lagos, I got employed by PricewaterhouseCoopers and Library, which is now PricewaterhouseCoopers. It's a firm of chartered accountants, international firm of chartered accountants. I was there. From there, I left for England, in UK. In the UK, I worked with PDP Governorship, the firm of certified accountants. And there in UK, PDP Governorship, there in UK is on Hendon in the borough. I was there for about 2-3 years before I went into private business, which is purely oil and gas. And that from there, 1996, I relocated back to my country and I took refuge, I would say, in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. And ever since then, I've been in oil and gas. And that is for now, my short resume. Thank you very much.
All right, we thank you very much for giving us this brief narration of your academic life. Thank you very much, Mr. Okeke, for giving us this brief academic background you have and your brief professional life. I also understand that you are an accountant, you are also a knight of the Anglican Church, if I'm correct.
Yes, I'm a Knight of St. Christopher, born and brought up as an Anglican. And ever since then, I live my life as an Anglican.
All right. Okay. Dịka onye Igbo chie n'echichi ka a na-akpọ gị chief ka a na-akpọ gị eze ka maazị.
Good. I'm chief, both in my town and Ukpo Kingdom. But I prefer to be addressed as Mr. Because any Dick and Harry, we keep it on as the chief. Oyejero school and as the chief. So I don't want to be in that ladder. I prefer to be addressed as Mr. Because if I come into UK, I want to see Elombah, who asked me, who am I? And I tell you, I'm Mr. Okay? It's more honorable. So every day can have if from me, you're up, Isiago. Okay?
Okay.
Yes. I'm a simple man.
It's good to know. I like that simplicity. One day I'm I Mr. Where he were. And I took him address as their full chief in their full traditional title. All right. We thank you very much, sir. So you are now aspiring to be the governor of Anambra State. Can you give us a brief idea, or well, no matter how brief you want to make it, your political experience? Okay, my next question will be, when did you start going into partisan politics?
Well, as when you said when I went into politics, here when you say politics, people going into politics, it looks as you call it, that is they come out and call it politicians. Even in your own family, you're a politician. You're a politician. So what am I being a politician? It's common sense. We call it that is a native intelligence. Being able to, common sense, know what you say. But people take it to be a profession. You ask somebody roaming the street, who are you and what do you do for a living? You say, I'm a politician. I'm not the type. Politics to me is a part-time job, okay? Like where you are now, is a part-time job. But they regard it as, where people say, I'm a politician. Politician means people who can go into the treasury and they empty the treasury under the disguise that they are politicians. You see them driving big cars and living big above their means. I'm not the type. I'm a politician. I'm a graduate. I'm educated. So if that makes sense, my level of education and my background makes me a politician. I'm a politics here. Church, I'm a politics. Okay? All common sense. In we see, do you know what to say and where to say them? So this is just the basic things that is, so you classify me as a politician. No, I'm a politician, I'm educated, I'm a businessman, I'm an accountant. Now maybe what you want to hear from me, like to be precise, or when I would say I took I took special interest. I started as developing my wits in politics. I'm into relating with people, going out and canvassing for recognition. Yes, when I was in fact, I was a prefect in my secondary school DMJs. It's politics. Labor prefect. It's politics. For you to be recognized and appointed or nominated to be a prefect, you're a politician for you to get into that position. Then going to my higher school, that is Anambra State College of Arts and Science. I was secretary of Old Agwata. You know what we call Old Agwata? That is comprising Agwata local government, Urumba North, Urumba South. So we're doing it in our own small way scale. So I was the secretary of the union, which then I would say that was the live wire of that union. So I'm proud that I did all this. Then in the university, I didn't participate. I was a member of students' union. I didn't take active role. I didn't play active role, like being a student, president students' union. So I didn't do that one. But now, so when I started in 1998 with Dr. Lesek Wema. He's just like our mentor from this area. That is Udagwata. We call him. We started moving around, even went to church. Then from there, I started developing interest in politics. but not on a full scale. Then in 2012, I took that decision to go into full-time. Not full-time, I would say I ran for the race, 2012 Guba race under PDP. Then to today, this is where I am. So I don't know whether you classify me as a politician or you are classifying me as a part-time politician. My business is running and I'm doing politics.
Okay, so your first political party you belonged to in Nigeria was the People's Democratic Party. Have you joined any other political party since then, since you joined PDP at the earlier stage?
Good question. I would say I'm a founding member of People's Democratic Party, PDP. I've never, I repeat, I've never thought of even going to another party. I've not been to APGA or whatever, I remain consistent. I've been in PDP, and the day I leave PDP will be the day I will say I'm through with it. So jumping from one party to the other, it doesn't tell much about your character. That's basic. So I've stayed with PDP. So here in Nigeria, they will say, you ask some people, say, no ideology. That's ideology in the sense that they don't, party manifesto, they don't, like in Britain where you are, you have the Labour Party and the Conservatives. They have their own ideologies, okay? So but here, it's all winners there. If you're able to, how would I put it? If you're able to just scale through and start answering politicians, wearing your abada and your red cap, you're a politician. So I've never joined or left PDP to join any party. I've stayed with PDP and I'm still with PDP. This is my second attempt on this race. And I believe I'm going to win this time. Okay,
your first attempt, let us get that clear, please. Your first attempt to contest the Anambra governorship contest was in 2012, sorry?
Yes, correct.
And that was in PDP?
PDP.
Okay. It is, our listener will be asking, in 1999, the People's Democratic Party won the first governorship contest in Anambra State. And then in 2003, they lost. Let's just say it that way, because even though Ngige won, but he was only there for 3 years, and the court ruled that it was actually P2B that won that election of APGA. And since then, PDP has never really won any other governorship election in Anambra State. Why would you think that is the case?
Yes. Another thing is to have success, okay? Another thing is, again, to manage the success. I think these are intrigues. Intrigues. In 2003, after Mbadibuchu, which was PDP, now Ngige came in. Ngige was still under PDP. Then for one reason or the other, the court kicked him out, okay? And His Excellency P2B came in under APGA. And you must know that Ojukwu was a factor. Ojukwu came back because Igbos were trying to identify, have that identity of their own. So that APGA coming in and is still here is a major factor. After the war, every Igbo man wants to be identified. How do you identify? By a political association where you belong. Like if you go to that is in the West, they have their AG. So Igbos decided that they have to have their own identity. And that identity was APGA. And they gave PDP a very good run in that race. You can't make no mistakes about it. But now, I think the narrative is changing. We need a change. I know you need a change. You want change. So, but let us not go into that now, okay? Why does APGA or why did they lose? I've explained to you, Igbos wanted a full identity to identify with a particular political party. And that, at that time, was APGA. And Ojukwu was a factor. haven't led Nigerians out of, led them into the war and brought them back from this. That was a good fight because we needed to be identified. No Igbo man will come out and say today, we know who this is high. Yes, I'm proud, I'm an Igbo man, and I'm happy, even though I was in PDP, I'm still in PDP. But the fact that that party came out, okay, and he came back identified with some people, that was a good move.
But do you think that the crisis in PDP also contributed to their losing those elections in those years?
No. Even in APC, they have their their own problems. Okay, it's healthy. Even where you are in Britain. Okay, let me put it in Britain. Now that is House of Commons to the Lords. Okay, even before this incident, people were beheaded. I'm sure you're aware. Okay, these are intrigues, and it's healthy in politics. It's healthy. So whether it's APGA or whether it's PDP or whether it's APC, whichever one, they have their own internal problems. Even in your own family, okay, there are problems. It depends how you manage it. Why say in my own, I don't even regard it as a problem. That's in PDP. It's not a problem. Every person is trying to outwit each other, isn't it? So definitely, that is, there will be maybe some, some moves. So it's healthy. It's healthy. As far as nobody is being beheaded, okay? No life is lost. I mean, it's healthy, like in any family. You guys, I got corn, but I cost you on, you got to go, and not it's healthy.
Okay, so let's now come to Anambra. What do you consider to be the most important problem facing Anambra today? Anambra.
I'll say the major problem we have. This is the state. We have the highest number of billionaires. And I quite that is how do I put it? We know too much. Okay, every person will try to take the lead. Nobody wants to take the back seats. And in a bid to lead, there are rankers. People tend to just jump up and start making noise. So, but at the end of the day, we find out the same way all these things are healthy. There are no major problems. If you go to Yoruba land, they have their own problem, even worse than me. So if you go to Imo, okay, they have their own problems. Everywhere. You go to rivers, the same thing, the south, northeast. So there is not, I don't think there's even any problem in Igbo land, except that we are being marginalized. We are not yet recognized as Igbos, or we are taking us, they are taking us for granted. Probably because we went for that war. That war is still there. Whichever way you look at it, Igbos are still not being recognized or given their fair share in the system.
Okay, so
nobody would deny that.
So if you become the governor of Anambra State now, what will be your priority? Mm-hmm. What will be your priority in governance?
My priority is to first of all get every man integrated into the system. How to be recognized, as they say in Abuja, in the center. Coming that to say Apuga is a state party as of today. It's not a national party. It's just in Anambra. And you can't continue to be here in Kabunka. You're staying in Oka. We need to go out. The country belongs to all of us. The first priority that is, I think I will do as a governor is to get everybody, let's get the center to recognize us and for us to have our fair share in the system. That is very, very key.
Okay, so in your manifesto, let me mention some things. We have security, education, agriculture.
Mm-hmm.
I think these are very important to India number, for instance. So which one will you prioritize? Or is there any other thing you want to prioritize above these three issues I've mentioned now?
Each and every one of them is best. visualization. They are all linked together. When you don't have a job, you're not happy. And how do you get this things working? First of all, you have to invest a lot in education. The best you can give to your child is education. What does that mean? Those teachers there, you have to just motivate them. Not only motivating them, training and training is key. You must have to. Then that is in terms of the schools, maintaining them, the school system. You need to maintain them. Get people back to school. Get there. When teacher is in school, not going there, that they're being at the month end, their lot is there. Then the students themselves to have enabling that environment where they can school, have good lockers, have good dormitories. If those things are there, they're not there. If you go to some schools, some are under the mango trees or under the trees with their books. You can't learn under such condition. Then coming to industrialization, when you get the industries working and get more coming in, people will be more gainfully employed. They will be more gainfully employed and they'll be happy. Then the same way security, you don't joke with security. When I hear people, they say they give security votes, which is unaccounted for. You don't account for it. This comes to you every 30 days. Some are getting up to 2 billion. Some are getting up to 2 billion. What do they do for it? Month end, they'll provide, what do you call it? They call the police, provide them some vehicles, and that's it. No, you've got to keep surveillance. There where you stay, that's what they call, that is the helicopter, going with the infrared. So when you said all these herdsmen or killings going on here and there, people who are killing them, you know where they are. Why don't fish them out? Now, most of these things I'm telling you, like that's the healthcare or the education, okay? My main target again is to have a state-of-art hospital in Anambra. And beside that hospital, you have what they call pharmaceutical companies to run. These companies in the West, and where do I get the fund for all these things? They're going to come from the West. They are ready. And what they need from you, is the enabling environment. Enabling environment is just provide the roads, provide us the energy, the lights. Then that is the shelter. Tell them that the security, their lives are secured. They'll be happy to come and invest. They are there. If you come to the West, that most of them are saturated. They are looking for where to take their products. And how do they do it? To set up plants and start manufacturing. But they can't come because the security is not there. Where are you going to deal with? The infrastructures are not there. We are not going to borrow from banks or hooking the state to any bank, as tying them to the neck. Most of these things are coming like grants, coming from the West. UK, I'm sure, and I'm sure you know that, they are looking for where to invest. And that is why most of them are going to South Africa. Even Ghana here, because here in Nigeria, they don't have the basic infrastructures. They enable them, particularly the security. So you need to guarantee them that their lives are safe. Now, under this hospital, I'm telling you, there you have both helipads. Like right today in Africa, where they have it is in South Africa. Somebody is sick, that they bless the SOS, they fly the person to South Africa. But here, we know we can have it. I'm very, very sure. And where are these people? I don't know whether you have heard about doctors without borders.
Yes, doctors are first, yes, yeah.
Exactly. In UK, they're there. In France, they're there. They're waiting to be brought in, probably under Red Cross. And you don't expect them to come say to Waka where you don't have infrastructures, you don't have security. Nobody wants to lose his life. But once you know how they're assured, they're guaranteed that these things are there, the basic, they will definitely be in Nigeria, in Oka. These are the things I think I will give my priority. And I can assure you, I'm not going to borrow from here. If there is abroad, you are there, that is to level to borrow from there, maybe 5%, the basic rate, okay? But here they will tell you 20%. No matter how dirty the dollar is or the naira is, you can still change it to dollar or pounds. Money doesn't move, it's just paper. It's paper. But the people who are borrowing this money, do they have the credibility? Some borrow this money and then they buy it as maybe they're in the West or they're in Dubai buying properties. So, but when you know you're borrowing this money to raise the standard of living of your own people, and at the same time be transparent, let them know that this money is coming in and this money is being expended on so and so. I mean, the things will move. Won't you like when you come back to Nigeria, you see, say in Nnewi, roads are dualized. You can drive from Oka under 30 minutes to Nnewi with street lights, with the police stations. These are coming from the government.
All right, my next question will be, you are a professional accountant, and some of your campaign promises will need money to execute. Have you looked at the level of internally generated revenue for Anambra State? How do you look at it? Is it enough? Do you have the figure for the past 6 months? And if you do, how will you be able to either increase it or use what is available to fulfill your campaign promises?
Good. What I've learned from my study, what I've done in the past 8 years, okay, I've gone into that. I found out that even when, like, let me give an example. In Nnewi, those shops you see there, they make payments. And the money they make, those payments they make, 70% of them, they are unaccounted for. They go into private pockets. They go into private pockets. And who are these people? They call them, that's the pangus. People that they send this money to them, that's maybe the political associates. First thing you do after being sworn in, is to block those leakages. You can't work without the money. If you go to Otuanija or Chanja, there's money there. These are IGR. What do? You set up a team, a complete professional team. It could be that they could come from anywhere. The most important thing, help me to block these leakages. And even let me give an example. You know, that's to say you go to main market, there is toilet there. And they are being charged to use those toilet facilities. So if you use a token, you drop it, okay? That thing will reflect at the revenue house. But when you go outside this system and say, look, this is my brother, let me give him to managing one name, okay? As I know you get maybe 500 naira, but you give me 200. That's corruption. You can't make any. You can't. There's no way. The most important thing is to secure the sort of funding. Like I said, my IGR is coming. If at all I need to borrow, I will come into UK. And I know you know what I'm talking about. I'll come to UK and go to the government or go to that lenders there. The mortgage. They are ready to invest. What they will ask you, how are you going to manage it? What is the template? If you say that, say you want to say Sibakage or wherever, or that they want a hospital, you give them how the hospital is going to look like. Who is going to manage it? When they look at it, I believe they will invest. And they will even try to manage it themselves. The most important thing is service. These are the things that you need to consider. The revenues, the IGR, they are there and it's huge, but were not being used. If you ask that some previous government, they will say, my IGR or their IGR 600 million every month. Between me and you is more than 2 billion. Where's the rest? So I'm not hearing you. Hello?
Okay, I'm so sorry, I muted myself. Yeah, my question is, are you saying that Anambra State IGR is about 2 billion naira monthly now?
Yes, it's even more than that.
But that
ask any person you're from. Yes, it's more than that. Ask anybody, but nobody will tell you that. Ask anybody in Nkwane how much they take every month from them. Then go to Ochanja, how much they make there. Then come to my own, even that's my local government. That is why some of them are even under the local governments. And that is why there's people who have been there, they've not been able to put elected governments. Instead, they would do what they call caretaker. What's the meaning of caretaker?
So
after 6 months.
What is the official amount being declared by Anambra State government at the moment as the official IGR? Do we know?
See, that one, I can't get into that, okay? Because I'm not a member of APGA. I'm not a member of the cabinet. It has nothing to do with me. But between me and you and the people on this forum right now, there is more than that, what we are getting. It's transparency we're talking about.
Okay, so how do you intend to block the leakages we have just identified now? Because that is a revelation to us, to some of us. How do you intend to block the leakages in the system?
You said I'm a professional accountant. I will employ the services of professional accountants. They could be Yoruba. Just as they call them consultants. Please help me. Put a system in place for me. Internal controls. Not this, that's because you're my brother or my sister, take this for me just to pacify you. No. I have a target. I'll set a target, attainable target. I said, look, this is what I want every month. Maybe 5 billion, 10 billion, okay? I will set something I know is achievable, isn't it? Then I get these guys, let us put the figures on the table. You do it. It might just take us maybe even 6 months to get it right. The most important is set a target. And how do you, that's what the most important thing is to block all those leakages. You go to market, you see some people, they say they're working for this person. Is that supposed to, it's not supposed to be. You block them. You block them. No matter, I mean, that is it. Government is not cash cow. If you don't have that money, the basic infrastructure, there's no way you can do that. Yes, it's going to be painful. You step on toes. But at the end of the day, they'll come back to say, yes, you did the right thing. You did the right thing. And what is the right thing? That the people on the lower ladder, the market women, you see, they're selling that is this, their cashew nut and whatever. They can now have good hospital, good education, security. They can now close their, go to bed and close their eyes. This is what government is all about. I don't want to be governor where that is, I would say that is the resources of the state that are being diverted somewhere else.
All right.
It's not in my blood. Yeah.
We thank you to our listeners and guests in this meeting. We are interviewing Mr. Walter Ubaka Okeke, a PDP governorship aspirant in Anambra State. He has been answering our questions for almost 33 minutes now. So in a short while, I'll be ready to take questions from the audience. Either you can type it out on the chat box, or if you're listening on Facebook, you can type your questions under the link on Facebook. Or if you are inside this meeting, you can raise up your hand by using your device and I will identify you. My next question would be, there's already a question I find typed here in the chat box. It says, the Southeast governors have been reluctant to address the Biafra question. No serious attempt to recognize 30th May as being significant. What will you do first as governor to change the narrative?
Please, could you just come?
Okay, I can read it again when the network is stable. All right. Hello, hello, are you back now, sir? Can you hear me, sir?
I think it's stable now. Okay.
Okay, I think is it my own giving the problem, because sometimes even my own network.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
All right, yeah. It's okay. I think okay. The question in the chat box, it says the Southeast governors have been reluctant to address the Biafra question. No serious attempt to recognize 30th May as being significant. What will you do first as governor to change the narrative?
Good question. And I'm sure I expected this question. That's what I would do as a governor. First of all, I have to let this go round. All those, my colleagues there, Imo, Abia, whether you're APC or not, to let them know there is need to speak with one voice. There is need to speak with one voice. That's number one. Number two, that we must have to identify with our people, with their plight. We just don't leave them. I'm not saying you're going to be violent or being confrontational. There are things you do, your own people will know you're working for them. Not deploying the armored vehicles to attack your people. Nowhere in the whole world, you can't do that. No matter the level of provocation, whatever they must have done, you can't do that. You don't militarize your place because they're in power. Tomorrow you'll be out of power. And you'll still need those people. And they are the people actually that put you into power. So what am I trying to say? There's nothing as good as being reasonable. Reasonable in the sense as being able to parley with their people. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here, sir.
Yes. You don't use force. You have to let them know. That's where politics comes in. Look, how do we actualize our dreams? You sit down and talk with them. If you remember, it took Southeast governors more than 2 years after Amatoku started in the West. Do you understand? They didn't take a cue. They didn't learn anything from there. These guys in the West, they were decisive. They took them on, started banning this and started doing this. But here, we are playing politics with it. So anybody who calls himself an Igbo man, knowing fully what transpired or what happened during the Nigerian Civil War, must never allow it to happen. Rather, to identify with their people back home. Not being confrontational, not being violent. There are many ways to clear rats. Let their people know you are for them, not applying or using force. Armored vehicles is not done anywhere in the whole world. It's undemocratic. So that's what I have to say.
All right, we thank you. We have another question in the chat room. As a governor of Anambra State, what will you spend your security votes on?
Good question. I won't say about I use my security vote to buy a choppers or buy with infrared. Okay, it might be too expensive, but if there is need for it, I will deploy it. Deploy it in the sense that say there is an attack, say somewhere that is in Awa or somewhere that is in Oka, in Aguleri, okay, within 5 to 10 minutes. That infrared, that helicopter is there. And how does it work? The body heat. Hello? Yeah.
Yeah, it's back.
So my security vote, 60–70% of it will go to community policing. Community policing is very, very essential. I'll spend 60–70% of it. And this, when I say community policing, I'm spending that money, you'll be there to see them, they're visible. You will see them, you see them. You see a policeman walking, maybe two, they must play together. Community policing, and they must be mobile, move them around. More police stations, more police stations being built. If possible, that's each, maybe that's a short distance of say maybe 100 kilometers, no 50 kilometers. You get them to have easy access. Yeah. Not 150, that's I will say about say 2 to 3 kilometers. Like where I come from. Now there is a police station in Obu, there is local. So in between, what this means that is the time it will take a police officer to get to a crime scene will be under say 10–20 minutes. And you have to get them well equipped. Get them well equipped. If possible, that is also give them good housing. If people are not well motivated, they can't work. They can't work. At checkpoints, you see them, what they do, collecting 100 naira, 200 naira. Do you know why they do that? Because they're not motivated. But if from the security vote, you know that every 30 days, I won't call it 1 month or a month, every 30 days, a government, that is a governor will get up to say 2 billion or 1.5, say call it 1.5, every 30 days. Why can't you bring 70% of it? This intervention fund, or what you call security vote, we call it in government accounting, emergency fund, unaccounted for. You use it wisely. Because that's why you see a governor that says, no, maybe you go to somewhere, say, I release 10 million. It's not his money. These are the things that they're meant for. Police stations, you do them. If you come now and say, in some local police stations, they're not repaired. You see a policeman standing on the road with slippers, no safety boots. So
wow.
we need community policing. You spend a lot of money. Yeah, 70% of your money to be channeled to community policing. And when you say, excuse me, community policing, these are the things you see them. The vehicles you provide, they are not there for, that's for decoration. Where the DPO is going, the DPO takes it to. Then again is equally very, very essential. The magistrate, the law courts, judiciary, okay? They are part of it. You don't keep somebody in the police cell for more than, say, 48 hours, okay? Or 24 hours, okay? The next day, you charge the person to court. Let the court decide his fate. Therefore, the police and the judiciary, they work hand in hand. And some of this money coming to you as security votes, they
All right, I have another question for you here, sir. We still have time to take questions. Anyone who wants to ask his question by himself, please indicate by raising your hand using your device, and I will call you up. But I'm happy to read questions typed into the chat room. There's a question here is, do you have any program for the youth and women? And if yes, how do you intend to let them know about it and believe that they can trust government is working for them?
I think there's a women already, I think it's enshrined in the constitution where it says affirmative. Is it 35 or 30 or 35%? Okay. I will give the women their full right, constitutional right. That number I will spend it. A woman in fact, well-read, well-educated. I will look for a woman that we even get, that's like SSG, which has never happened. A woman to go there. A woman to take that position, well-read, well-qualified. And what's the position that the SSG occupies a strategic position in government? All those commissioners are under him or her. So I prefer to have a woman as SSG. That's for sure. It's non-negotiable. A woman who knows her own needs, who is well-read, who has been tested. I prefer to have such woman in place. That's number one. Then the youth. There is nothing as good as education. Give them good education, quality education. If you don't give them good education, it's just like a child, they will go astray. During the long vac, they have long vac. Get them fully engaged. Summer schools. When you leave your child at home, not good as he said, that's not doing anything. There are every tendency, every reason for him to indulge himself or herself in any crime through friends. The way you get a child, have vocational schools. Train them. We train.
It's okay. If the network band is low, when we want to cut it out for posting, it will be all right. We remove all those interruptions. So it's no problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's really slowing me down.
Yeah. I understand, sir.
Yeah. Yes. Elombah, there's one basic thing I need to do, and I'm going to leave it as a legacy for the youth. Now, this is not a question. That is, if you watch, for a child to get to the next stage in her life or his life, say from secondary school, I think they start at 5. By 10 or so, he or she must be somewhere. Take A levels, okay? Then that is the university system or the admission. So, yes, you have to. Job for them. And that is where the massive industrialization comes in. Industries. You need to get them occupied with something to hold on to. Even vacation jobs. You encourage those kids to, even the father or the mother is selling groundnut or whatever, go and help in that shop. Keep the child busy. And when the time comes to go back to school, you have to provide the basic thing. Meals, school meal. When a child is in school and is happy and performing well, that child will come out better and a better citizen. Youth, you can't play with them, and the key thing to them is to give them quality education. Let them be proud that they have a government, and not to encourage them that Yahoo pays more than going to school.
Yeah. All right, we thank you very much, sir. The questions are still coming up. Ask questions to your prospective governor today. Jeremiah, please, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. Jeremiah, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Yes.
Good evening, gentlemen. I am very excited participating in this Zoom meeting, and I salute the organizers of this Zoom, and I salute His Excellency to be Chief Ubaka Okeke. And the question I have for him is this: in view of how vast Nigeria is, and in view of the arrested development between Nigeria since independence, going by the huge geographical dimension of the country, what is the plan of His Excellency to be regarding restructuring Nigeria, which is likely to enhance development in every area of the country? Because as the saying goes, local problem demands local solution. Nigeria is so vast, and going by the working of a true federal arrangement of a country, it is very obvious that when the country is restructured, every aspect of the country will kick off regarding development in every area. Economically, security-wise, in every nature of development is going to help Nigeria. So my question is, how does he plan to galvanize every politician of Igbo extraction to ensure that the country is restructured, which is going to set every aspect of the country on a very, very strong footing to kick off development of Nigeria and Africa at large? Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jeremiah. That's a very good question, and it's been on the front board. Nobody wants to be marginalized. Nobody wants to be looked down on or to be regarded as second-class citizens. We're all equal. This country belongs to all of us. So if you know you're not getting anything from the center, there should be a devolution of power. But one thing, I'm not a violent person. I don't subscribe for any violence. Having seen what we saw, the 3-year civil war, probably some of you then were not born. We saw hell, and I wouldn't like to meet it in my lifetime. There's nothing as good as negotiation. I personally, I want more rights, more recognition for my people, but not through the barrels of gun. I do not wish to have it, to see it in my life. I feel bad when I remember what we went through. From 1967 to 1970, we suffered. We suffered. People, children, women, we are just killing. We're just killed like this, you know, as if nothing. There's just like pigs, animals. And I still believe that God will come to our rescue. People will keep talking, keep talking. One day, they said, I think Saul on his way to Damascus. Saul on his way to Damascus. Scales fell off his eyes. And he realized that the best option, the best route for him is now to be repentant. He was persecuting Christians. So whoever that's there, thinking that that they're okay, one day God will visit them and say, this thing you are doing is not good. We keep talking. And this is where we need new leadership. People who can represent us well. Fight for your people. That's why you're elected. These are the people that elected you. You stand for them. But to resort to violence, carrying guns, no. It won't pay. We lose more lives. You can't fight them. We don't have guns. The center controls all this. They have the army, they have the navy, they have the police. We've been through this. And I don't think that's the best option. There's nothing as dialogue, negotiation. One day this thing will come true. South Africa went through it, apartheid, and they came out of it. And today what's happening in South Africa? They're happy. No more killing. But even in South Africa, they'll find it very difficult to have a white president because the world has come to realize that there's nothing you gain through violence. People were incarcerated. Nelson Mandela was there for 27 years. He paid the ultimate price. So in our own case, we are going through it. It's not going to be for life. One day, it might happen in our own lifetime. It might not happen. We will keep talking. Negotiation, dialogue. I believe in devolution, power. Let the East control their own resources and manage themselves. Let the West, the same thing, let the North. So I support restructuring. There's agitation everywhere. It's everywhere, ethnic nationalities. The South, they are agitating for their own rights. That is the same thing in the West. So the heat is coming on, even Benue. So this particular one is coming everywhere. So what we at the same time, we should not forget to pray. Everything, you can't do anything without God. So power, devolution, I support it. Restructuring, I support it. Why? Because my people, they want it. Because my people want it. I will say because I'm a governor, I will just turn the blind eye on the agitation. No, it must be. We must be recognized as a people.
All right. We thank you very much, sir. For those who are just joining us, we have our guest, Mr. Walter Ubaka Okeke, a PDP governorship aspirant for Anambra State, still ready to take our questions, although this program will end in the next 10 minutes. We have another program coming up by 8:15. This is a 1-hour interview, 60 minutes. So the 1 hour will expire in the next 10 minutes. So let's take another question from Ihe Nacho Agena, please, who has raised up his hand. Can you unmute yourself, Mr. Agena? Oh. Mr. Agena, please, can you unmute yourself?
Are you with me?
Yes, go ahead with your question, sir.
Yeah, I know Ubaka as a man with integrity, but I have one question for him. Ubaka, if by the grace of God, you are the governor of Anambra State, I want to ask you, how are you going to manage this issue of charity begins at home in Anambra State? What I'm talking about is, when Ngige was given opportunity to become the governor of Anambra State, he started with from Aro, all the whole roads, Aro to Idemiri, and end up there. P2B took over the whole roads at Agolo. Even if no motor is taking that place, he tied them without minding, as if he's using his money. Now I want to ask you, when you are given an opportunity to become the Anambra State governor, how are you going to manage the issue of charity begins at home? Thank you.
Yeah, again, thank you very much. Before I answer this question, I need to let people know who you are. Aginon has been my childhood friend. We grew up, we went through the same school. We suffered together during the war. We were in the village, even that is doing our local things. So Aginon has been a very true friend, a very committed guy. You see, Aginon and the people let the world know. Government is not just because I'm from Nanka. I'll take all the resources of the state and come and give to my state. Now, what I think Aginam and my people should be doing, we're from the same village. Aginam, that's what I implore you to do, is to go back to the people and let me get me elected first. No, but charity begins at home, I believe. The people of Halo, they supported him. Then that's P2B, agro people, they supported him. So I implore you, go back. You will gain a lot. For the mere fact I'm a governor, okay? And you'll be proud to hold your head very high. At a Plobia, at a Guluzibo, at Oka, everywhere you go, the governor is my brother. Eh? So, question of infrastructures are coming to your way, it will come like it will go to any other part of the state. Yeah, there's nothing like nepotism because you're from my place. Therefore, I bend the rules. It will definitely get you. This is my best my burial ground where I have my grave, where my father is buried. My grandfather is buried. There is no way I can be a governor. In fact, that's the essence of rotation. Zoning, what people are clamoring for. If he goes to Central, people will now concentrate on Central. If he comes to South, they will come. All this will come. Anambra is not just that, or the government is not for Nanka people. You are my very good brother, and I like you, and I would say I appreciate what you've been doing for me, in supporting me on this project. And I believe by the special grace of God, on May, on March.
All right, we thank you very much. You've done justice to that question. Let's take another question from Mr. Freeman Chuka Ibekwe. Can you already typed a question on the chat room, but you have raised up your hand to ask use your hand. Go ahead, sir. Mr. Freeman Ibekwe, please. You can unmute yourself.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, my brother.
Yeah, Walter. Yeah, I've already typed a question on here to ask about, I know you are a visionary leader who's linked up with inclusiveness and accessibility. I want to know, primarily, what would be your plan for Anambra in terms of, the main thing there is actually in terms of getting the states into investor promotions and partnerships with other states and people coming into Anambra. Do you have any plans of welcoming investors into Anambra to make Anambra the states that take Anambra to the heights where it ought to be?
Yes, Chuka, that's a very good question. In fact, my strength, why I'm into this race, is because of what I know I can attract and bring into Anambra State. I can't go to Benue where they farm and produce yam and come and tell them to set up a yam farm or whatever. I'm going to get into the West. Into the West, when I'm into the West, Britain, Germany,
yes.
US. Look, you go to
yes.
where you get to these guys that are willing, provided you don't have any criminal record, your credibility is intact, and they look at you, look at your resume. Okay. Now, I said it earlier that most of the funds I will bring in, if I come here, I will get maybe that if there is any need for me to borrow, to go and let us say, lenders give me some money, it might be 10–15%. But there in UK, where I'm familiar with, it can be more than 2–3–4% overseas investment. Like that's why you have what is they call a particular ministry or department in the home office or in the Downing Street there. They said overseas development. That is where you have the funds being stuck there for underdeveloped or third world countries. So me, in my capacity as executive governor of the state, going with all the paraphernalia, with all the good records, okay, I should be able to attract good investors into Anambra State. The question we will have, are people willing to concede some part of their lands, which there will be, there's government owns every land. It's going to be massive revolution,
right,
particularly in the area of agriculture. Excuse me, Elombah, I know you're in a hurry to go. I wish this will continue in the next 1 or 2 hours. The areas I need you to. I need you to fire me. Fire me on agriculture. I'm there for you. Okay.
All right. Well,
fire me on agriculture.
Yeah, well,
what is the basic thing for any Igbo man?
Yeah.
How do they get their produce? Get into them. That's where they would just make good money from it. I'm going to create infrastructures, good roads. Let these things come out. So rural development, massive. That's to go to the interlands. That is where I will invest. But that's 60% of Anambra's money. They will see it. And when you create all these things, the rural dwellers there, they will be gainfully employed. They will make money. Those farmers you think, but the wine tappers, you get them. These things are refined in the West. So we need to get to the rural areas. Look, I want to ask you one thing. You come to that situation, where you come from, where do you have the land? But you go to a place like Ishiago, you go to Okeze, that's my area. There's nothing there, the lands that are barren there. Okay? You need to give them good roads, give them good water, give them light. These are the infrastructures they need. And you see them at their best. They will produce. So I wish this could go on and on and on and on. Okay? I want to be engaged.
Well, thank you.
You didn't ask me about rural. Yeah?
We thank you very much, sir. Okay, let me ask one question and then allow you to give us your concluding thoughts, because we are going into another program in the next 3 minutes, and our guest
yes, please, please, I want to chip in something. I forgot. You asked me what can I do for women.
Yes.
As I said before, a woman is going to be SSG. A woman is going to be a deputy governor. Okay? So for them to attend and get that they are 35, 30, this for them, they need to get it. I need it to be balanced, even in the House of Assembly.
Okay, my last question to you, sir, will be, will you commit to conduct local government election immediately you are elected as the governor? And secondly, what is your vision for Anambra State? That's my final question.
Good. Yeah, first question, to take it, the first one. Within 6 months of being sworn in, after being sworn in, okay? Government democracy, I want to be open. Local government elections must be conducted. All the elections, I can't work with committee, a caretaker committee chairman or whatever. I'm not familiar with that. And I don't know where the constitution stands on that. I think it's not allowed. It's not allowed. So it has to be open. Any person who becomes the chairman of a local government must be duly elected and sworn in, not just like me. It's a three-tier system. So the allocation comes, that is the federal, the state, and the government. Not a situation where you get that allocation for the local government. You give them a paltry sum, say go, maybe 5, 6 million or 10 million. Then the other one, as you put it there. At the end of the day, we wouldn't even see the infrastructure. So that's corruption. So within 6 months of getting into office, it has to be done. Then the second one, you asked, what was it? The second one.
What is your vision for Anambra State?
My vision is, one, to get Anambra highly industrialized, where a child goes to school and comes back and say, I hold his or her head up and say, look, I'm proud to say I'm from Anambra. Number 3, medical facilities. Medical facilities. The world has a state of art. Where you have a hospital, you see that is a helipad on top of it. Any emergency, instead of going to India, people from India will come back to us and say, look, I'm going to Nigeria. We are in Anambra to go and have the first, to go and have the bed medical facility. Then above all, the keys must be the school, employment must be there for everybody. Then security. You'll be free to move from point A to point B, even at all times. When I mean all times, I mean from 2 a.m. to 3 a.m., 4 a.m. So I'm going to go from Oka to Onisha. I go through Okuzu. That Okuzu junction that is very dreadful. I can pass, somebody can go through it, even on Opiweka at 2, 3 a.m. Nothing will happen to the person. So you are protected. Your family is protected. Your kids are protected. Even massive housing. We are still short of houses. And we have land to go into massive housing units. But who is going to articulate all this? The governor. And this is going to happen in my own government. You'll be proud, even people outside, to start coming back home. Coming back home, come and develop this state. The government is going to be all inclusive, open.
We thank you, Mr. Walter Ubaka Okeke, for honoring us with this interactive session between you and the Anambra on what is your plan, what is your manifesto for Anambra people if you win the forthcoming November 6th governorship election. Thank you very much for being with us tonight.
Thank you, Elombah. It's nice having you.
All right. Thank you very much.